Bachelor Nation's Bryan Abasolo and Rachel Lindsay are calling it quits. The 43-year-old chiropractor has filed for divorce from the 38-year-old former reality star after 4 years of marriage. He cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for their split, according to court documents obtained by multiple outlets on January 2nd.
People want to talk to me all the time, especially with the book coming out. You and Bryan, or how things are going, and things are great with me and Bryan, but they could be better. Can I just be honest about that? They could be better. And we're not struggling, we're not having a problem. Please don't create a headline about that. It's just, we could be better, and I want to be better.
Did you know that Rachel Lindsay has an audiobook
from each other, but we always knew we were coming back together. It was like, I got the jump start here, settled us down, and then when Bryan shut down his practice, he came. I didn't just move with no end in sight. So I think us living long distance from one another, we don't post each other on social media all the time. And then also because we haven't had children, and I was very vocal when we got off the show that I wanted to have 4 kids, and because I haven't prioritized a family, or people think I haven't, then there's all this, outside opinions of, oh, they don't really want to be together. They're just using each other because they're not growing their family. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things that people say to me, is when they assume about why we don't have children, as if it's like simply I don't want them.
Do you guys want
Hey guys, good morning. Listen, we're going to talk about some interesting things here. Listen, I want to be very honest with you. Listen, the Rachel Lindsay situation with Bryan, he is asking for spousal support in this divorce, okay? He's asking for spousal support in this divorce. Now, I actually got given a lot of videos from different people, but I actually went back to the very beginning of this relationship. I did not know who they were. So I went back to the beginning of the relationship, and I watched a bit of Bachelor Nation to see a couple of things. And an interesting name came up, Peter Krause. And I watched the clip, and I'll play a little bit for you guys in a second or two. And the clip was telling for me. And I always say this, and I put it on my Instagram page. I never want to be somebody's second. Yeah? I never want to be somebody's second. Okay? And in some sense, that is what Bryan was, because Peter and Rachel's connection was so heavy and so real. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't propose, it would have been them. And so, unfortunately, in this situation, we're seeing how when you are not number one in someone's life, how this can also affect the relationship. 2, they've had a good run. I love the fact that they also, like they said in the very beginning, they didn't actually do too much press runs. They try to keep their relationship low key, try to be, as off the grid as possible to help, their relationship try to foster and grow. And Bachelor doesn't have a great record in terms of long-term relationships, like any other TV show anyway. But, it's always been a situation where he's also been following her lead. She is a big boy lawyer. He's also a chiropractor. I think he had his own. I think he had his own practice, or he was doing his own kind of work as well. And he was supporting her predominantly in a role reversal, right? So she was the one that was a big boy lawyer, wanted to go off into Hollywood, wanted to, go and aspire to be greater. And actually it ended up being that they had to be a long distance relationship because, she moved, I think she moved to LA, if I'm correct. But he was originally in Miami. And I don't know if he fully moved over to LA, but they were doing a long distance relationship as well. So that was another situation that was also playing a big role in it as well. But, I mean, listen, I just want to say, that usually when these topics come up, we do talk very heavily about black men and how they're only good for certain things, and they only want to take your money, and we talk about how black men, when they divorce, they're dusties and this and that and da 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 da, right? Well, sis, Like I've always told y'all, it's men in general and women in general. On this occasion, yeah, all right, on this occasion, he is wanting to be taken care of. Why? Because his lifestyle has changed. Ladies, this is how it feels. When the men are now in the position where you are leading and you are winning and you're the predominantly, predominant financial breadwinner, this will happen to you as well. And the fear that these men feel, you will also feel too when you are the predominant breadwinner. And it's the reality of life, unfortunately, right? That in this situation, the brother is now asking for spousal support. We'll read about it in a second or two. Before we do, please, if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We want to have a great conversation today. I will invite people up as well. So you can have your say as well in the chat. I know a lot of you guys probably have opinions on this situation, and you probably want to say some stuff as well. But yes, let's get into some of this mischief. I want to play the clip from their season as well a little bit. So there's a little bit of a clip for their season. The brother didn't know what he wanted to do. I played a little bit in the background. I'll play the video clip for you guys in a second. But Peter Krause and Rachel, they were dating on the show, right? They were trying to find out who the bachelor would be on the show. And at the time of the show, she really, really liked Peter, and Peter really, really liked her, but he wasn't sure about marrying, right? I don't know why he was on the show then, but he wasn't sure about marrying, right? So it got to a point where she had to make a decision about who she was going to choose. Sorry, Bachelorette, thank you very much. And in the end, she actually, fair play to her, didn't succumb to Peter Krause's nonsense and actually ended up then, I guess, a few months later, marrying or engaging with Bryan. And, you know, it's never easy, these situations. And they're very painful when you go through certain situations like that with Rachel too. Was Peter white? So she's got a type. Okay, it looks like she got a little bit of a type. Okay, all right. So she's going to have to handle that. But yeah, again, once more, that situation with Peter Krause, everyone saw how much she really cared for him, how much really loved him. It's just that he didn't come with the goods and didn't come with the question that needed to be asked. So I appreciate the fact that she didn't choose him in the end, and she made a sensible choice. And then went with Bryan. The only thing now is, obviously, their relationship has suffered a few kind of pushbacks. One being that she wanted to start up a family, wanted to have 4 kids. That didn't necessarily happen. They was having trouble there, so they were trying to get IVF. There also a situation in terms of living arrangements. Obviously, she moved away, and he didn't move from Miami as well, so there was a long distance relationship. That puts a lot of stress on things as well. So that's another way that the relationship can suffer as well. So, you know, there was a few other things that were happening as to why the relationship might have got to a place where it suffered. So, you know, that's also another thing that also plays a role. Someone said a black man played at the show. I hear that still. All right, let me play a bit more of this situation. So listen, it says here, this is a statement. It says, if you've been following me for a while, you know I don't like to put my personal affairs on social media. I like to keep a safe space for our family. Many of you know me as a chiropractor and as a husband. My proudest role so far, after more than 4 years of marriage, Rachel and I have made a difficult decision to part ways and start anew. My parents have been married forever. I'm a family man, but sometimes loving yourself, Sorry, I read that wrong. My parents have been married forever, and I'm a family man, but sometimes loving yourself and your partner means you must let go. I wanted you to hear it from the source before the blog start making up their own reality. Please respect the spaces of our family and friends as we figure out our next steps. So, I would definitely do more research that I can maybe bring a video tomorrow, because I'm trying to figure out why he didn't move from Miami. Now, I know he might have had a practice or whatever there, but I'm trying to figure out why he didn't move from Miami to where she was. Now, of course, a lot of couples do long distance, especially if they're very established in their business, but it does put an extra strain on your relationship. It puts a lot of extra strain on your relationship in that regard. So for me personally, there's a little red flag there in terms of what was going on in the relationship that he didn't want to move from there too. So they were in Dallas. Okay, sorry. So he moved to Dallas and lived with her, but the second move he didn't make that move, and the relationship became long distance. Okay, and she moved to Miami with him. So why did their relationship become long distance? Because she speaks about it on another video, that they became long distance in their relationship. So there were points where they lived together and points where they didn't live together then, right? So there's something, obviously, maybe a reason as to why. Maybe it was logistics wise, maybe it was a practice, maybe moving around was too much, whatever, I don't know. But at the time, as I said, there's a blog where she talks about it, saying obviously they were long distance as well. So okay, she moved to LA from Miami. Okay, so they both moved from Miami to Dallas. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay. So someone said, obviously, honestly, it seemed like he was doing all the bending. Rachel made career changes, which required a lot of sacrifice on his part. Was she doing for him? I mean, listen, they, unfortunately, I think with this situation, when you have a relationship like this where one person's dominant in that, someone does usually do the more bending, right? If the person is more financially stable and pays majority of the bills, maybe, I'm not sure if she did, by the way, I'm just saying, but I know that obviously financially, the way she was set up, then it becomes a place where, the other person has to kind of bend to your will. So I understand, that in some relationships there will be a bit more bending to be done. So that's another thing there. Let's have a look at this thing, and then I'll read the article for you guys.
Separately from each other, but we always knew we were coming back together. It was like I got the jump start here, settled us down, and then when Bryan did reality TV again, I just don't think, unless I did like a Big Brother, always knew we were coming back together. It was like I got the jump start here, settled us down, and then when Bryan shut down his practice, he came. I didn't just move with no end in sight. So I think us living long distance from one another, we don't post each other on social media.
That's quite interesting because obviously she said that he shut down his practice. So he was taking it seriously. I can't even lie to you. Like, if you shut down your practice, he was taking it mad seriously. Or at least she was willing to pay for everything so he can shut down. But yeah, it seems like, it looks like he shut down the whole practice, and that means he was taking it really, really seriously. He changed his whole entire life. This is why he's asking for spousal support. No wonder he's asking for spousal support. Yeah, because if I'm uprooting my whole entire life, I'm changing it so that you can follow your passions and follow your career. Yeah, I'm gonna be asking for spousal support. Yeah, I'm gonna be, because what do you mean? You know what I'm saying to you? What do you mean? If I've uprooted my whole entire life for your career, yeah, that's gonna be the next thing. It pays to be the boss. As they say, it pays to be the boss. So if you pay it, you pay that toll. There's also that toll on the other end, because in reality, they're gonna say, well, actually, you were supporting the brother and you changed his lifestyle, right? Okay, if you change his lifestyle, you know what I mean? If you change his lifestyle, and if he's been accustomed to a new type of lifestyle, baby, you're going to have to pay, okay? Yes, they were married from 2019, so you're going to have to pay. There's going to be money that has to be paid because his lifestyle has changed. It's sad to see. It's sad to see, but his lifestyle has changed. You know what I mean? Maybe the money that's been coming in for has been bolstering, So he needs to be supported in this time, because he could have had other ventures going forward, and unfortunately he couldn't venture into those spaces because he was busy being a husband. He was busy being a husband, supporting her. I'm being very facetious. I'm actually being facetious. I'm going to read the article and say why he actually wanted the spouse support, because I actually don't know why he wanted it. So I'm going to read the article and then we'll discuss whether you guys agree with the actual spousal support or not. Okay, so here we go. I see you, Sean, there as well. So it says this. News broke on Tuesday that Bryan Abasolo filed for divorce from Rachel Lindsay. More details are emerging indicate that along with wanting Rachel to pay for attorney fees, he wants spousal support. What is known about the divorce filing? Keep reading to find out more. Okay. Bryan Abasolo met Rachel during her time as a bachelorette. He proposed on the finale, and they got married in August 2019. The news of their impending divorce comes as a shock to Bachelor Nation, since Rachel has admitted, oh my gosh, I don't even know what it says, adamantly, I don't know what that word is, I can't lie to you, has been adamantly claimed that there are no problems in the marriage. In fact, she talked about starting a family in the past few months. However, things seemed strange when she noted that both live completely separate lives. So right now, they live completely separate lives. Bryan and Rachel kept their marriage private in hopes of protecting it. Fans rarely saw them post anything about each other on social media. During a recent interview with Nick Vile, Rachel said Bryan is a sole practitioner and he leaves the house at 8. He comes home at 9 o'clock. Let me tell you something about this. When a brother leaves the home at 8, comes back at 9, when y'all have got good money already, he might be out here in the streets. Or he might not be feeling to come home. But hey, we all work hard, so I understand. Me, especially now that I'm not doing extra, I have a lot more free time, and then I'm back in the hustle mode trying to get a second job, so I go to events. So we're just in two totally different places. The divorce papers filed allege that the two have been separated since December 31st, 2023. According to the papers, Bryan is seeking spousal support from Rachel. He's also saying their home in North Hollywood is a community property. Bryan also wants Rachel to foot the bill for his eternity fees. Of course, the couple has no kids, so there'll be no battle for child support. It's unclear who will get custody of their dog. He listed irreconcilable differences as a result of their split. Okay, so, my God. Earlier today, Bryan Abasolo spoke out about the end of his marriage with Rachel Lindsay. So far, Rachel has not commented on the split. In his announcement, Bryan said he wanted everyone to hear the news from him rather than possibly read false information about their split. He said, many of you know I'm a chiropractor and also as a husband, my proudest role so far. After more than 4 years of marriage, Rachel and I have made difficult decisions to part ways and start anew. Bryan went on to say, sometimes loving yourself and your partner means you must let go. You ask for privacy as navigate through their split. Okay. My, oh my. My, oh my. Shawnee boy.
Yes, sir.
Captain, talk to me. It's crazy because you know what? That he's asking for spousal support. I know some people don't really necessarily agree with it. Rachel, and him have been together for 4 years. I want to get your take. What's your thoughts on this, Captain?
Well, I just want to first say this that I don't celebrate in anybody's divorce. But I just do like that when we see examples because people try to make examples. Black women can go out, find a white man, and do what you want. He's gonna accept you and love you, and you could, just this is the fairy tale. Go ahead and have it. And I'm not saying that was Rachel Lindsay's mindset. I don't know enough about her to know her mindset completely, but I know that this was one of those marriages that people would look at and be like, yep, she could do whatever she wants, and he's just going to accept her. That's the, white men will love you just the same. No, it's not true. Unfortunately, there's breakdowns and problems in all marriages, and don't think that you can escape any problem or escape any issue by going and finding a white man. It's the same thing for the brothers that think that they could find their peace in a Becky. You're not going to escape you in another race, right? Because you bring yourself to that relationship. So This is why the only reason why I like examples of this, because people can kind of break down their stereotypes, or they can feel like, oh, they can get an option in somebody else. And again, I'm not saying you can't love someone of another race. I absolutely think you can. But don't think that it's solely their race that's going to bring you a better outcome. So that's what I push back against. Now, and I love the fact that this gentleman, hey, he said, I want my spousal support. Run me my money. Run me my money. He said, you've inconvenienced my life. You flipped my life upside down. I want my money. So, give it to me, bag it up, wrap it up, and let's go. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. And this is like you said, it's on both sides. We don't want to see any when people start deifying and uplifting, you know, our racial counterparts as the better. This is a great example for any of them, men and women, that just because you went for somebody else of a different race doesn't solve your issues, right? Because you can't escape you, and you can't escape the choices that you made as to why you made them. And I think that's a great point, you know what I mean? So I think that's a great point. Again, it's not about the fact that no one should be in interracial relationships, more about the fact that don't be thinking, that because you've chosen somebody else who of a different race that your problems are solved. They're not. And this gentleman here is running his own practice. Look, they talk about black men being, a problem, but this guy's running his own practice, from 8 to 9, okay? Earning good boy probably money too from his practice, and still wants spousal support. You can't make it up.
Yeah, she done stressed out the poor man, and I'm being cheeky. She done stressed that poor man out. He said, "I gotta go. This is not working." And on top of that, listen, I might have an MD in front of my name, but I need the coins on my way out. But one of the things I do, again, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about this couple, so some of what I'm saying is conjecture. But what I do know is that she did a little bit too much chatting about their marital affairs. And then we have these couples that say, oh, we're going to tell you a little bit, but respect our privacy. We're going to tell you just enough, but then stay back. That is problematic, because she's got on a couple of podcasts. She starts to talking about their sex life. It's not really what everybody might think it is. Hey, 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 ma'am, don't get to spreading our business. You get to
Ma'am?
talking too much in the streets. Man, back, back, back. You're gonna start to, you start to unravel, because when you tell too much of the business, especially the intimacies, it's a bad sign.
No, I definitely hear you as well, Oh man, it's crazy. Like in these situations, I think I saw the one with Shambudi that you gave, and I was like, oh, she did speak about the relationship. I mean, listen, I ain't got no problem with it. Listen, at the end of the day, if you've consented that both of you are going to talk about it, hey, probably those kind of conversations can get a little bit tricky, because you can say one or two things that you don't need to say, and it can bring your relationship into disrepute. Just like the Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens, you can say the wrong thing and it can bring your thing into disrepute. So you got to be careful what information you allow out and what information you have to slip out to the public in that regard. But yeah, no, I mean, their relationship, it's unfortunate to see it come to this point, actually, because they've done a good few years. And, that those good few years, have been very, it seems like it has been fruitful for them both, but it's coming to an end due to the fact, like I said, I think there are other factors at play in the situation, but all things got to go to an end at a point, and I think, obviously, like I said, that there's a kid situation as well. Her wanting children, but not necessarily couldn't, because had issues conceiving. So there's a lot of things that were happening, like in that respect, in terms of the relationship, that could have been part of the reason why they are where they are now. But I won't nail it down to any particular specific thing, because we don't actually have that evidence. But yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, listen, the spousal support thing, that's according to law and what he's entitled to. Does he have to take it? Probably not. But will he take it? Probably. Probably. So for me, no.
Yeah. Let's see what they negotiate with. Because I know, listen, what could happen is, depending on what really happened within their divorce, if she wants to fight, she might just be like, because she's an attorney now. Let's not forget that. She's not actively practicing as an attorney, but she's an attorney. So she's got that legal brain. So if there's something she doesn't want to make the light of day, she may likely be like, "Hey, listen, let me just pay this, let me pay the piper, so he can't get to talking or stuff doesn't get to leaking, and I'm gonna move on." Now, if there's really no story to tell, she might be like, "Listen, bro, you can have part of the house, but I ain't paying you no monthly stipend, so you might as well just miss me with that." So we'll see how the rest unfolds.
I hear that. Dahlia, welcome to the conversation. Talk to me. What's your thoughts?
Hi, good morning. Okay, so I actually hadn't planned on coming up here, but I was I was reading through the comments section, and I can't believe I got to do this, but I got to take up for Bryan here because it feels like people are really pushing back on his request for spousal support. And I find it a tad bit hypocritical because if you had a woman in the same situation, we wouldn't be having all this commentary, all this chit chat about how he doesn't deserve it, how he's a man, he's got to buck up and he'll be fine. Oh, he's got to practice. It's just like that's besides the point. The fact remains is that he did have to make a lot of sacrifices within the marriage. There was a lot of change going on, maybe something that he didn't actually sign up for because when they got together, he's a doctor, she's a lawyer. Maybe they were supposed to be the next Huxtable's child. I don't know. But then she switches up on him and says, I actually do want to do something different. I want to go into entertainment. That's a totally different field than what she was coming with on the show. So now he's got to go do all these hard pivots that maybe he wasn't expecting to have to do. Yeah, I would want my money too. I mean, run me my money. I don't understand why this needs to be an issue here, or why the fact that he's a man, all of a sudden that means that he can't ask for this type of support. Why is that unreasonable?
I hear you. Sean, what's your thoughts?
Hey, I don't know what their conversation was. I know the optics of spousal support, probably especially as they had a fairly public relationship, might not be something I would want. But hey, if they had agreed to that, and that was the understanding, then by all means, if he made a substantial sacrifice for them to move to be in LA, and he was moving outside of his area where he had a practice in order for her to really pursue her dreams in the entertainment industry, then look, I can't be mad at it. I don't know what financial agreement or conversation they had. So if they previously had one and she's not blindsided by this, then it's fair game. And then I just want to address something really quickly. People are saying, "Oh, he's not," I see somebody, "He's not white." He's white. Okay. All right. So let's just knock it off. All right. He might be, one part Colombian, blah blah blah. He white. Okay, so let's just stop it.
The
Let's
white
just stop.
Hispanic.
Let's just knock it off. He white. Yeah, we know he white. Okay. That man is
Wait, hold
not.
on.
That man is not. I don't want to be ridiculous. I'm trying not to, but don't make me say something that's ridiculous. He's white, okay?
I hear you, sir. I have a question for both of y'all since we're got 2 men up here. So with him wanting spousal support, what does that look like to y'all? Would that be if you guys are in the same situation? Would you guys ask for spousal support? And when you hear men ask for it, what are the thoughts that men have about men asking for spousal support? I'm curious to know about that.
You can take this, Sean.
Well, we talk a lot about on this channel, and you know, I know sometimes people get upset with us, but power dynamics don't work. And when the power dynamics are off like this and it's on the
Mm-hmm.
man's side, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't I don't like it. I don't like it, and I'm not a fan of it because it leaves the door open for things like this. And I'm not going to say every situation when the woman makes more or the woman is more prominent, then it's always going to fail. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it I don't like it, and I think that it sets up a situation that could potentially go the wrong way.
I agree with you, Sean. I think, and this, I mean, power dynamics is always very difficult. But he tried to make the best of the situation, right? He moved his practice, shut it down, moved his practice. Wanted to support her, everything like that. I think they may look at, I think this might look at life differently. It seems like he's a very more quiet, chill, down to earth kind of person who just wants to kind of get on with life, kind of underneath the radar. And I don't know if she wants to necessarily get on with life underneath the radar, and that's not a bad thing either. For her to want to be
Yeah.
over the radar, it's not a big thing at all. It's just the way that she wants to live life, and I think that can also create distance as well because you want two different sets of life that you guys are wanting for yourself. So that can also be a big thing. So I wonder if that played a role in the situation in terms of them going forward. But what I would say is obviously that, you know, with those, as a man as well, you want to make sure you can provide, protect. You want to do your best to be in a leadership role. It's not as easy to be the follower, I would say. You know what I mean? To then follow your partner around. So, like, if she's leading it, following her around that way. That's not an easy place to be in for a lot of men, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, for me, he...
These feel like some very nice PC responses that you guys are giving me right now. Because I feel like if y'all had a chat between the two of you, this would be a very different conversation. I get it. But
What you want us to say, Dahlia? You tell me. You give me the leeway, and I'll just say it. Okay. So you
because
just tell
y'all
me.
over here talking about power dynamics and whatnot. Okay, well, what does that mean? So if y'all were in the same situation, does that mean that you guys wouldn't ask for spousal support? Do y'all think that he's whack for asking for it? I mean, what are we saying right now?
I wouldn't be in this situation. Let me just put it that way.
Fair enough.
it
Okay.
it ain't for me. It's just not for me. This whole, the mentality. That's why, Kojo did an earlier video where he was
Mhm.
talking about, men have to like you. I wouldn't like this.
Mhm.
I wouldn't like the mentality of this because, Rachel Lindsay, as, wonderful as she is, and I
Yeah.
think, some of this pokes fun at some of the things we see. It's like, men, you should just you want to get yourself a boss chick. No, I don't really want that. And I'm not saying I don't want a woman that is successful in her own right or happy doing her own thing, but the
Mhm.
mentality that comes behind that is, it's very domineering. And Rachel Lindsay has a very, her presence, you see her, like I've seen her on
Oh
TV and
yeah.
stuff like that. Like she
Yeah.
says it like it is. She jumps on Shan Booty's podcast and she got the bump in her gums about their sex life. Those types of things
Yeah.
I personally would not like. It would make me very much uncomfortable and upset uh, if somebody was giving people too much of a lens into the intimate parts of our relationship, and then it just exposes us even
Yeah.
further. So that kind of stuff is what I wouldn't like. And I
Yeah.
don't think that I could be in a relationship like that because it's just, you know, not suiting to me. So that's why I'm saying the power dynamic is off from the beginning, where I couldn't even see myself being in that kind of relationship.
That's fair. See, I didn't even know about that interview. I'm thinking of them based off of their appearance on The Bachelorette, which, and by the way, she's been like that from the beginning. It's not like that started happening after the show. She's a pretty take charge person, and I got the distinct impression that Bryan is not. That he's willing to not necessarily be passive, but to kind of fall back and let her run the show. But I didn't know about that particular interview. That's kind of, I'm not a fan of that either. And I wonder how much of that was her trying to get some headway in the entertainment space. So her name is out there, and she basically kind of sacrificed the privacy of her relationship in order to get that. And that, I'm more than likely that probably rubbed him the wrong way, because it would rub me the wrong way too if somebody did that, if my man did that.
No matter at all. Yeah, I mean, listen. It's life is tough, man, and relationships are tough. Marriage is tough, and you know, like I said, for men specifically, ego, pride is a very big thing, and it's not easy to put aside. So having to be in a position where you are moving at the whim, it feels like, of her, then yeah, you know, I can see how it can be difficult. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day. You know, these relationships, no one's got the perfect formula. But what I would say is that, you know, in this scenario, I don't know why. I know why, but I don't know why he's chosen the spousal thing. Personally, I don't know why. Just again because, like I said, for us as men, I know that his life might have slightly changed or whatever, but. You know, you want to, there's a sense of pride that you normally have. This relationship is done, I want to move on, I want to move forward. And that's a double standard. Me and Sean talk about it all the time. There's a double standard, right? So as a woman, you're entitled to grab, you know, a little, if this was the case, because as a woman, you know, you're usually the one that's in the role of following, being taken care of, etc. So maybe your life has shifted. But in this instance, it's like, as a man, there's a little bit of a double standard. So when you're applying for a spousal role, you're probably asking the question, what is it we're asking for? Like, what is it we're asking for? Is it because she done something, she cheated and you hurt your feelings and you make sure she's feeling it? Or is it because you generally need spousal support? Do you generally need it? Is your practice not doing as well as we thought it was doing? We're asking the question. Because remember, we're asking questions based from a double standard. It's just what it is. It's not fair, but it is what it is. Because that's why I'm asking myself the question, what is that for? What do you need the spousal support for? And so, yeah, I ask those kind of questions.
Those are good questions to ask. And I would imagine that as a chiropractor, I don't, can you still say that word? Like, do they still have like blocks around words regarding the 2020 situation?
Oh, I don't know if we want to say CV.
CV, okay. Yeah, so I'm sure that particular situation affected his practice a lot on top of having to move. So, yeah, those are good questions, actually. That I didn't even think about that. To be honest with you, I was more so thinking he was doing that as to kind of, to basically, I don't know if punish is the right word, but basically just to kind of get his pound of flesh for what all the changes that he had to make within the marriage. That is more so what I was thinking, not necessarily that he needed the money. To be honest with you, I don't even know if Rachel got it like that. I mean, I know she was making good money as a corporate attorney, but now that she's pivoted over to the entertainment space, yeah, she was on Entertainment Tonight, but she's not on the show anymore. From what I understand, she's got this podcast with Van, I can't remember his last name. Van Jones, I think is the last name. One of the bands, she's got a podcast with him, but I don't know if it's making money like that. I watched a couple of their episodes. I don't think it's doing numbers like that. And I don't know that she's really doing much else. So numbers wise, it's probably pretty comparable, which is why I was thinking, oh, he's just in it to get his pound of flesh, which is tacky, but also I can't sit up here and say that he doesn't deserve it solely because of his gender. And that's really my only argument for coming up here is the argument that he shouldn't have it because he is a man, I think is a very weak one. Because you'd have to follow that logic through for the woman's side, but if they have like the same issues on the woman's side, then what is the difference? The only difference really is that he's a man. So you're saying that he doesn't deserve it because he's a man, and I just don't think that's reasonable.
Well, I'm with you. And I appreciate your modern mindset, Dahlia. But yeah, it usually doesn't work out that way because they be going crazy when we say 50-50. He said, forget your 50-50. He said, I'm coming for the 80-20 and I want the 80. Okay? Give me
And the
my
house too.
money. Give me my money. Okay? So look, and again, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about them, but what I do know is that she took the leadership role, and it seems like they were following her vision. And this is what happens, and again, this is why I say those power dynamics are so important. And sometimes ladies, y'all be getting upset, oh, y'all sound red pill, y'all sound misogynistic. And when men say, we want a woman that follows our lead, this is why. Because when these things happen, sometimes y'all, now if Rachel is okay and she don't mind running him his money and giving him the spoils of her labor, then hey, they figured out the modern way of managing their relationship. But for the people that watch and say, oh, that's not right, well, hey, they followed her vision. He uprooted himself from where he was to follow her, and now she is the one that's in the limelight. And yeah, so this is what happens when we have the dissolution of the marriage. He's like, hey, I followed your vision, boo. I followed you, baby girl. And where I followed, it didn't really work. So we off the course. And now I need my money.
Yeah, we're going to start seeing a lot more of this because we have a lot more women in the entertainment space specifically who are making good money, or at least good enough that their husband could demand spousal support. And women are always surprised when this happens. It's like, I don't know why. You're never surprised when it happens on the men's side, but now we're getting surprised on the women's side. Maybe because we're not used to seeing it so much, but you're going to start seeing it more because more women got that kind of money. So yeah, I suspect we'll be getting a whole lot more Bryans in the world, even the ones who don't have kids with their wives. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and step off, let y'all finish talking, but it was nice talking to y'all.
Thanks, Dahlia. It was nice chatting with you.
I appreciate it. No worries, Daria. Love for that. But yeah, no. Listen. I want to do more. I want to do more research into it and go deeper because obviously I know you sent me the videos as well, but I want to go a little bit more deeper. This was a light one because I didn't want to go. I didn't have the time to go and do the research, but yeah, it's looking like she gonna end up paying. Look like she end up paying, baby.
Yeah, she might have to. She might have to just run him the money. And I mean, we've seen these divorces, and I even know from my own experience. I mean, we didn't get into a very heated battle with this when it came to the financial part. Like, not to go too deep into it, but what we did was we both agreed to, we had a financial disclosure, and we both agreed to not disclose finances because we each didn't want anything from each other. And then we had to, split our property, our home, and then any financial accounts that we had. And that's very similar to what like Megan and Devon Franklin did. And that's when you both just kind of say, you know what, this didn't work out. We're not gonna get entangled financially with each other. We both know we've come to the table with X. We're gonna leave with X, and we'll just walk on out the door. right? And that's where it does, and especially similar to Devon Franklin and this same couple, we didn't have kids, so it kind of makes it easier to just close the process. But now when you throw things like spousal support in there, it makes it a little tricky, because depending on the other person's view of that, you might have to negotiate that in, out, up, down, and that just drags the process out. So I just wonder how it's gonna all unfold, and if it's not that way, then yeah, it's gonna get sticky, bro. And it also depends on what's underneath it. So I just, again, we don't like to see the divorce, but I'm not saying Rachel was or Lindsay was a a divester, but just let's look at these couples and look at the example, and let's stop the foolishness, right? Stop saying we're gonna run to the white kings, and he is white. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Stop this nonsense. He white. Okay, guys, you look at him, you see him on the thing. He's white. You may dig into his 23andMe, and maybe there's a little bit of Mexican or a little bit of Colombian or whatever's in there, but the man is white. All right. So he gets the white privilege. He gets all the white things. He is white. All right. So cut it out. And then lastly, I'll just say, like, when you see in these little clips, their dynamic is that he had to constantly step back. He had to constantly step back. And a lot of men don't like that position. And it ain't just us brothers. A lot of men in general, they just don't like it. All right. So, ladies, please stop selling yourself a dream that men want to be led. We don't. And I'm telling you, a man may tolerate it, but it doesn't mean he likes it. So I just want you guys to understand these warning signs. Oh, we got our baby girl Seaway in the background, so she's gonna come knock us out. But yeah, that's my thing.
They definitely gonna have. It's gonna definitely be a interesting battle in the next few years when women are making far more money than men, because they did tell us that they're gonna outpace us. So it's gonna be interesting when you're dating down and you find out these men are doing the same thing that women are doing too, which is, since you're the breadwinner, we gonna need that spousal support. Okay, just like we're always shocked when we hear another woman again has to pay some spousal support, it's going to start becoming more of a trend. You know what I mean? Right now, it's not so much, but it will become a trend soon. You know what I mean? As more women grow in the area of finances, there's going to be a lot more of those type of relationships going on. So it happens, man. Do you know what I mean? But you know, hopefully they come out amicably. Siwe, what's your thoughts on this situation?
Hey, good morning, y'all. I'll make it quick because I'm supposed to be working. I got stuff to finish. But I do want to do this input about, and I talked to a couple of my other lawyer friends who are in family law, but this was my opinion anyway, especially from an Illinois perspective, but it varies from state to state. But most states are very similar when it comes to pleadings. And this is what I thought immediately before people kind of took off with, to the races. If judges find that you didn't ask for spousal support in your first pleadings, they don't always allow you to come back and ask it. So just because he asked for it in his pleadings originally, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to go after it full-fledged, but he's trying to preserve his right to get spousal support because he asked for it in the beginning. So I don't know him. I don't know if he's going to go hard to try to get spousal support or not. But him asking for it in the pleadings doesn't mean he's going to fight for it tooth and nail. So that's number one. And number two, it's very hard for men or women who are able-bodied and both able to work, making similar amount of money, to get spousal support, and there's no kids. So if he really wants to fight for it, he's really going to have to show he made some huge, significant life change that he relied on, or he relied on something from her that he really needs spousal support for a certain amount of time to get on his feet. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they looked into the dissolution of the divorce, who wanted the divorce, looked like it was him, not her, things like that. So I think all of those things have to come into play. I personally, based on how much a chiropractor makes and how much she's probably struggling to make in this entertainment business, don't think that if he gets anything, it's going to be a lot of money. So I don't really feel like I think it's going to be a non-issue, personally. This is an able-bodied man, and that she's an able-bodied woman, and they don't have any kids. Outside of something that we don't know, which we're gonna have to wait and see, I don't know why anybody's getting spousal support at this point. So I don't think that's gonna happen. As far as the divesting, y'all, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole with y'all. I do think Black women should continue to look at all the options that they can. When the fact remains that their options are becoming more and more limited, they should continue to explore all options. Ask for the, and that's really important for Black women, especially as we continue to make more. But to Sean's point, putting any man of any color in a position where you make more is a dangerous game, and I don't want to play it. I don't care if I become a millionaire. I want my man to make 1.2 because I don't want to be in that position. And I'm modern woman stand up, woo woo, y'all know me. I don't want to be in that position. I want a man to be a man, so we ain't got to tussle, because that's what's going to happen. And that doesn't matter what race he is. But when in their situation, they went into their marriage equally yoked. If one person took off, one person took off. You're supposed to be able to battle that together. You can't change who takes off. If I'm with you, Sean, and I hit the million, I hit the lotto, am I supposed to leave you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't control who takes off. I'm with Kojo and his platform goes crazy and he's interviewing Barack Obama, or vice versa, because I need to do it. I'm the woman, right? Is he supposed to leave me? I don't think so, right? But I wouldn't voluntarily go into that situation, because I do think that the power dynamic between a man and a woman making more, you do have to, it's a lot more complicated. And it doesn't even matter. In 2024, it's still very, very complicated. So I just think we need to figure out, we just need to let it play out a little bit. Kojo could dig into it a little more, because I'm not. Kojo could dig into it a little more, and then we'll come back. But I'm not sure that his original pleadings means that he's going to go crazy for her money. I just think he needs to reserve the right for them to exchange financial information. Maybe he needs to figure out what he don't know, because they seem like they live kind of separate lives, right? And when you live separate lives and you have separate finances, they both need to do a financial disclosure so they can figure out what each other have. And then once they do their financial disclosure, the judge may decide, hey, Rachel, you got your coins, he got his coins, and y'all need to go y'all separate way. They may do their financial disclosure. They may find out that Rachel got money in Switzerland and money offshore, money this and that, and that she can afford to pay him a little bit to make sure that he's stable for a couple of months. Either way, she's not paying this grown man more than a year or year and a half. I don't see it. No judge is going to make this woman pay a grown behind able-bodied man with their similar financial status more than 6 months to a year. So it's really going to be a non-issue. So
We appreciate you, Seaway. I'm loving the comments right now. I see a couple comments. He's a scammer. Leave her money alone. Hey, he followed her vision. I don't understand. Y'all said that we could have co-leaders in the house, that we can follow your lead. Women have the ability to lead as well. I don't see what the problem is. He followed her lead, and it caused him to make some changes financially, and potentially he now needs to be able to be compensated for that. Sometimes these entertainment contracts that she has, they come with seven figure, high six figure deals. And yeah, so I don't see what the problem is. And why he got to be a scammer. He's from Miami, he's a scammer. Come on now.
I don't think and people gonna have their opinion, and I don't think it's a scammer where if they went into marriage together and he made a large sacrifice for her, she in the divorce can cut him a little bit to make sure that he gets stable and could go about his way. I mean, unless she would be bitter or upset about him filing in general, but if they're somewhat on the same page as the fact that the marriage is not going to work, most people, I think, you cut your partner something so he can leave you the hell alone or she can leave you the hell alone, and you go about your business. I don't think that's scamming. Now, but we don't know his situation, and we don't know what they agreed to, and we don't know if it was equally beneficial for him to move as well as her. We don't know so much. There's so much about it that we don't know. So all spousal support is to get the other person to be stable and to be where they would be, as close as they would be if they didn't get a divorce. That's all he could get. So yeah, I'm not gonna get into the lead, and we don't know who took who lead. We just know that she had a big dream and he went along with it. It could have been both of their decision. We don't know. So
Now, see where he was following her lead. She was the spokesperson for their marriage. And everything that they did. Especially the major moves were based on things that she wanted. Obviously, he agreed to it because he went along with it. It's not like he was dragged, but they did what she wanted to do. For her benefit.
I mean, I can see that. I can see that. I don't know if I find that to be following the lead, or is it like I'm doing something to make my woman happy? Maybe I'm looking at it differently.
And two can be true. I'm trying to make her happy, and he following her lead. So, since she is the leader, we need her to pay.
See, wait, and you know what? This 2024 I love it. Because you said you're not fitting to, put on your boxing gloves and play around with us too much. But, I love it. I love it because there was balance in everything that you said. So, I rock with you. Um, but yeah, there's parts of it that I think are cheeky, and then there's parts of it too that's just ironic because this is what, and somebody put it in the chat, and it's so true. This is what equality looks like, and you want equality, you have to be willing to cut that spousal support check. So sometimes we play the I'll pick this and I'll pick that, and I want a little bit of this of traditional and I want a little bit of that of modern. Well, look, you got your little bit of modern, and then you got your little bit of modern on the back end too. So it's just like you got to be very, very careful, of what you ask for, because this is what could potentially happen. Now, again, I said it to myself. It doesn't mean he's going to get the support at the end of the day. It's about what they negotiate, what their lawyers agree to, and what they're able to, or whatever conversations they've had beforehand. But look, it's a sticky, sticky road right now. And some people are like, he shouldn't get anything. He's lazy. He needs to just get back to work. Well, it's just not that easy. It really isn't. It's just not that easy that you've been uprooted, you picked yourself up, and now it's like, yeah, no.
But this is what I'm going to say. And you touched on this earlier, Sean, and I'm going to say this. Most men who are the type of man that I would want to be with would not find themselves in that situation. You know how you say you wouldn't be in that situation? Most men, non-spousal support asking men, would not even be in that situation. I don't know if that's hidden. Because, and maybe, just maybe, this was the type of man that she needed for her to be who she needed to be. Because there's balance with everything, right? If you're a super dominant woman, a lot of times you see yourself with more passive men. But more passive men ask you for spousal support, queen. That's the catch-22. That's the gag. That's the real gag. Because men that I want ain't going to be in no situation like this where they even need my money to survive. I don't care where you at. You should have moved nowhere without your equal coins. Should have told that lady, you go to California and I'm going to stay here in Miami and work. Because I'm not going to be dependent off you, queen. But he gives a little passive tease and he went to California and this is what it is. Do I feel like she needs to pay for a grown man more than 6 months to a year? No. Maybe a year, depending on the situation, right? But this is the byproduct of running things and a man just following, and a man not standing on business. So here we are.
And listen, you made great points.
Indeedy. Listen, we've reached the hour mark, so I'm definitely gonna do some more research on this. I'll probably end up talking about this either tomorrow or Sunday further, because I'm sure there's bound to be more information that's gonna come out in their relationship. But I'm definitely with you. You know, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where I'm having to. My pride wouldn't allow me to ask for a spousal support, to be honest. You know what I mean? But hey ho, you know. Let me not say anything. You know, I've never been in that position, but personally, I would want it to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. But that's again what we're talking about, double standards. You know, that as men, we oftentimes are pushed into a scenario where you're saying, you know, this is not manly for you to do, or it's not masculine for you thing to do. So, yeah, Sean, give us a quick summary, and we'll get out of here.
Okay. Well, again, you know, as we started, we don't like to see any relationship end in divorce. We don't celebrate divorce, but what we do is use these examples to learn from them. And the learning is you ain't gonna find, you know, don't just go solely out there looking for the white kings, because the white kings will divorce you. The white kings too will ask you for for spousal support, you know, but find yourself a king, whatever hue he may be. Choose whatever hue you may like, but don't solely go looking for a hue thinking you're going to get a better option, because the hue you will bring is you. And that's the most important part in every relationship. It is you. So, what are you learning? How are you growing? And how are you doing better? Back to you, coach.
Thank you very much, Sean. We appreciate you. And listen, audience members, we're gonna catch you in a bit, okay? So we're gonna see you soon. Much love, much appreciation.